Look at this line. I've always loved you. You've been the fuel for my morning, the energy that gets me through the day. Why did you do this to me, breakfast sandwich?
He's the food scientist that loves food and will put you in a good mood. It's Johnny Aardvark. He's the life of the party.
What's up? Today we are trying to figure out who has the worst fast food breakfast sandwich in America. Let's uncover it. I'm gonna do one sausage egg McMuffin, and I just want to do one hash brown with that. Can I actually add a cookie to that first order? All right. Well, we just ordered our McDonald's breakfast sandwich, and we've got a special treat for y'all later in the video. Just a fun way to sort of spice things up. A little game, if you will. One of my favorite things is singing, especially on Sunday morning in my church choir. Man, those were some good memories. We had a really great musical director, I think is what he was. Yes, ma'am. You know, one of my favorite things actually we just saw was a bunch of families just heading on out for a nice little, Sunday morning breakfast sandwich run, if you will. I love breakfast sandwiches. I ate a lot of them in college. But there was always this really nice restaurant my family and I would go to. It was called Our Place. Man, they had this customizable, made right in front of you omelet bar. And they had all the delicious sides, sausage, bacon, biscuits, gravy, you name it, they had it. It's one of my favorite things to actually just sort of pick out on occasionally. Go after church. All right, now we are trying out Starbucks breakfast. And for this one, it's gonna be difficult for our challenge, but we'll figure out a way to do it. Can I do the sausage, cheddar, and egg sandwich? Can I also do a vanilla bean custard Danish?
Absolutely, you want it warmed up?
Sure, thank you. Look at this line! Man, I can understand it though. This is Starbucks, it's Sunday afternoon. People are just getting out, even though the weather's down. You know what? We're starting to get closer to spring. So hey, we're turning the seasonal corner. Everybody get out of your seasonal depression. It's time for happiness. Boy, I can't wait for us to get this Starbucks. Books. Man, now that we're here at Starbucks, I feel free to espresso myself. Espresso myself. The last time we were here, it was in the fall. Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad.
Maybe 9:23.
Where's that? 20. Onward to Dunkin! All right, now we're at Dunkin' Donuts to see who has the worst breakfast sandwich out of these three we've visited so far. Which one of you three is going up to the chopping block for the worst breakfast sandwich? We'll find out. Well, you know what they say, America runs on Dunkin' and Aardvark runs on America. So I guess, somehow, Aardvarks run on Dunkin'. Hi, can I just do a egg, sausage, and cheese breakfast sandwich, please? An order of hash browns, one Boston cream pie donut. That will be everything, thank you. I'm so excited. We got a donut. Oh, we got a donut. Now we're headed back to the lab to figure out who has the worst breakfast sandwich. Alright, all you Aardvark foodies, so we're back at the lab. I've got my blindfold on and I have no idea what's in front of me. I'm not gonna go all crazy because I don't want to mess up this beautiful looking display. But at least I'm hoping it's beautiful looking. Kevin? With this blindfold on, it's actually really opened my eyes to a lot of the things that I was ignorant to before. Like who has the worst breakfast fast food sandwich? I'm about to figure that out in the most tried and true method, a blind taste testing. Now this is getting into sensory science a little bit. When we did this in college and in the lab, it wasn't necessarily this quite exact setup. It would more just be a random piece of meat or a drink with a specific amount of sugar in it compared to the next, and you had to essentially rate those and see which one was the most sweet, which one was the least sweet, which one was a tolerable limit that you wanted, the right sort of amount of sweetness, if you will, to then put into your soft drink, cookie, what have you, and such. Now it is time to figure out who has the worst breakfast sandwich. It is a crime. Now it's time for me to try my first breakfast sandwich. Okay. This feels like it. A whole sandwich. Alright. This feels like a biscuit of some sort. Flaky. Smells like a biscuit. Smells like egg. Alright, now we're going to try our bite, rate it, and then try to figure out at the end which one was which. Alright, that wasn't bad. Could get the subtle hints of the cheese. A lot of it felt like chewy bread, so that was a little underwhelming. Got the occasional note of the sausage and the egg, but really that just felt like a chewy big amount of bread. Not overly impressed. 6.5, maybe 6.7. And I have a feeling I know which one that is. Now we're going to the second sandwich. Okay, this feels like it. Oh, this is much better. Now this feels, tastes, seems like a croissant, which is nice because it has that extra buttery brown notes on the bread specifically. Cheese again, subtle, but a little bit more potent here. Like the cheese was just maybe aged a little bit more. It had just more of that cheesy flavor, if you will. Sausage was good, like a sharp cheddar. Ow, actually, I think I might have cut my tongue on how sharp that cheddar was. And the egg. You know, I'm going to go back one more and try to get just the egg. Not bad. The sausage, the chewy, juicy meatiness, if you will, of it, helped to blend beautifully with that egg there, which was nice, fluffy, good egg, actual patty there. That one was really good. I'm teetering around the 8s, like a 7.8 to an 8.2. So you know what, we'll leave it at an 8.0. A nice healthy average between the two. But that was actually pretty good. And I think I know where that sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich came from. Now, on to my last victim. Alright. That one was another biscuit. That one actually tasted a little bit better than this biscuit. Hold on, I don't know if it was the method of consumption. Alright, you know what? This biscuit was actually much better than this biscuit over here. The buttery notes came in a lot more. I don't know if they just used more butter or if they used it more effectively, but this one had a much better, it still had that big sort of bread, chewy consistency of, well, what you'd expect out of a biscuit. But I could definitely taste a better blend with the egg and the sausage and the cheese than over here. All right. This was interesting. Now, obviously, I hate to admit it, but I'm probably going to favor this one. This guy, this one will get the 7.7. And that's impressive, because I'm not usually a big biscuit fan. I much prefer my croissants. But this actually came in at a close second. So, we know what our worst sandwich is. We know what our best one is. I can't wait to eat this best one a little bit more. I just take a look at that, though. I'm assuming, yep, we got our egg on bottom, sausage on top. Cheese feels like it's melding the sausage to the top part of the croissant. Egg just seems like it's floppily hanging out down there on the bottom. Alright, folks, so we've just finished trying out our sandwiches, and officially, here's the tally. We got sandwich number 1. Yes, sandwich number 1, right here. We got sandwich number 2, right here. And we've got sandwich number 3 over here, yes. So because this was the number 1, I have to do it the honors of completely slamming it. I'm going to grab some ketchup. You know what? We're going to do this the mix and mash way. It's a good thing I chose to wear my red shirt today. And have you guys heard of a really good joke? Captain of a pirate ship's first mate comes out and says, "Captain, there are 3 pirate ships headed our way." Captain looks stoic. He stands back. He looks at his first mate. He says, "Bring me my red shirt." So first mate goes, grabs and brings him his red shirt. Battle ensues. The single pirate ship is victorious. The men are ferocious with glee at surviving another harrowing pirate battle. First mate goes to the captain and says, "Captain, why did you ask me to bring your red shirt before the battle?" Captain goes, "So if the men see me bleed and I get shot or I get stabbed, they will continue to fight." Next day, first mate goes, "Captain, 20 pirate ships are headed our way." Captain goes, "Bring me my brown pants." Alright, now that my funny story is over, and we've officially rated and destroyed the best sandwich, it's time for the best of the worst. This one right here. This one was the worst egg sandwich out of all 3 of them. I hate it. How could you do that to me, breakfast sandwich? I've always loved you. You've been the fuel for my morning, the energy that gets me through the day. Why did you do this to me, breakfast sandwich? Alright, now, somebody tell me which sandwich was from where.
That one was from McDonald's.
You're kidding me. McDonald's, really? I expect a little bit more, but I could genuinely taste the quality. Even though that was a croissant, and it is delicious and very hard to mess up a croissant, this bagel, this little breakfast muffin, this was way better. Where is this one from?
Starbucks.
I can taste the difference. The egg quality, for one, not even close. Sausage, they might have even used a different type of meat. It almost looks like they, let me see. No, that still tastes like a pork sausage, but still much better quality. Better use of butter. Look at that. We got a nice, beautiful, lightly golden layer of butter. Now there's also a little bit of cheese there, so don't be too fooled. But we got a beautiful layer of butter on on both of those inner biscuit sides. That makes this guy a much better sandwich, and I gotta finish eating it actually. And that's because breakfast is the most important meal of the day, especially when you have 3 of them. Boy, oh boy, you know, my aunt actually used to say it's called breakfast because you're breaking the fast after you've slept for 8 odd hours and haven't eaten probably, hopefully, since dinner. You're breaking that long fast of not eating. And now it's actually very important to break the fast healthily with some eggs, some good protein, and honestly, a few vegetables and greens aren't going to hurt either. But some people choose to break that fast with a donut. And you should definitely not be doing that. This thing is basically just bread, dough, fried with a bunch of excess sugar. Not the greatest way to start off your morning. I mean, eating this thing can not only, one, make you tired later, because once that sugar rush is over, we all know that sugar crash is real. It could also make you feel bloated and just generally lethargic, or seeking that next sugar rush. Now, you should never eat these things for breakfast. This should not be the first meal that you eat of the day. Luckily, this is not my first meal I've eaten of the day. And it's just so good looking. Even my little aardvark thinks so too. Thanks for keeping it warm, buddy. You even stamped it out for me. Now again, you should not be eating this. This is not a good thing to eat and put in your body, especially first thing in the morning. It's just not right. It is very good though. Like, very, very good. Like, I cannot stress this enough. This thing is terrible for you. I don't even know why we are allowed to serve this in most places, let alone high schools or grade school cafeterias. This right here. This cheap, easy, delicious piece of sugary, fried, breaded deliciousness This is almost as cheap as an apple. Might even be cheaper to make. Now, I know that donut might not seem like that big of a deal. That thing had 270 calories, 11 grams of fat, only 5 grams of protein, 18 grams of sugar, and 49 grams of total carbs. Sorry, 39 grams of carbohydrates. So, approximately half of those grams of carbs are just pure sugar. Just pure added sugar. You don't need that. Not at least first thing in the morning. Up next, we are trying the McDonald's cookie to continue to practice what we preach. Fairly hard. Good consistency of chips to dough, it looks like. Good little cross section. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and have our bite. Not bad. As far as chocolate chip cookie, it's kind of hard to screw that up, but that was solid. At least a 7, maybe even up to a 7.5. Standard good chocolate chip cookie. Now, the chocolate chip was nice, it was gooey. The cookie itself on the inside, fairly soft, fairly chewy. That's always a plus in my book. And it did still manage to maintain a fairly nice, crisp exterior with a good amount of browning. So, that's solid. Again, it's kind of hard to screw up a chocolate chip cookie, but this one seems to be okay. Enough for maybe one more piece right before we go into the nutrition of how bad this is for you, especially at breakfast. This just makes me so mad because I think about how easy it is to consume so much excessive sugar without even realizing it half the time. You just think, oh, this is just what's there, it's what it's available. I mean, heck, I had more sugary and salty snacks more available to me than I did like fresh fruit and apples and stuff growing up half the time. But it's just annoying to see what's happening nowadays. No wonder why we have so many health issues, not only in our country, but across the world. I mean, this type of food is unsustainable. It's not good for the population, and we've got to start making more conscious changes to get these types of foods out of our just eyesight, just out of our range of view.
Or maybe practice a little self-control.
Shut up, Kevin. It's so hard to make these healthy decisions in a world with so many sweet treats right in front of you. Comment down below if you've ever found it hard to turn down dessert. Now, crazily enough, inside that one cookie alone, we've got 160 calories, 7 grams of fat, 22 grams of carbs, 14 of which are sugar, and only 2 grams of protein. It would take you running for 14 minutes on a treadmill or walking for 23 just to burn off the calories and the nutrition in that cookie alone. Not worth the trade-off to me. But what might be worth the trade-off is this Danish right here. This right here is one of Starbucks' newest treats. It is the vanilla bean custard Danish. Take a look at that. Very simple, very elegant looking, you know, very flat if I'm being honest. Not much volume to these like flakes and layers of what's supposed to be a Danish. Now, let's give this a quick bite. Pretty good, actually. This is a solid choice. Look at those layers in there, actually. That is a very cool little thing about bread and the layers as the dough releases oxygen, carbon dioxide, and other gaseous substances, we'll call them. It helps to create these like amazing little air bubbles and gaps, and then depending on the layers that they do, it creates just that beautiful texture, that symphony of just biting down through 3 or 4 or 5 layers with air in between. It's just beautiful. Overall appearance, not the best looking Danish I've ever seen, but the taste kind of rounds it out. I'm going to give that an 8.1 right as we go into these nutrition facts, which I'm going to assume are not going to be the greatest. Now, this time, instead of hearing me recite a couple of boring old nutritional facts, we're going to hear them from Kevin.
You got 230 calories, 9 grams of fat, 32 grams of carbs, 12 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of protein.
Okay, so that's not bad. It's got a little bit more protein. By a little, I mean 2 more grams from 2 to 4. We've got more carbs, which kind of makes some sense. Less fat, which sounds good. And less sugar even. So that's not bad. A few more calories. I'd probably go with the Danish. The extra calories, the few more grams of protein, the less overall grams of sugar, it's definitely the healthier option between the two. You really want to avoid all of that excess added sugar because that's the stuff that's really bad for you. That's just the fine granular powdered sugar that basically gets thrown into half the things we eat nowadays. And that is the stuff that you really, really want to avoid. Most commonly in soft drinks, a wide variety of sweets and confectionery products, and even just a lot of food in general. Alright, well, luckily, I don't think there's any, or hopefully much, sugar in this McDonald's hash brown. Kevin?
No sugar, Johnny, but you got 150 calories, 9 grams of fat, 16 grams of carbs, and a gram of protein.
Yeah, so this thing's really not that healthy either. It's just fat, carbs, and calories. No real protein, no real good nutritional value. This thing's basically just a energy block. This thing is literally just a block of food that your body would eat, break down, and turn into like readily available energy. And if it doesn't use it, off to fat storage it goes. Still pretty good though, doggone it. Now, there's only one thing that would make this hash brown just a little bit better, and that's ketchup. However, it is unfortunately now a McDonald's brand of ketchup, womp womp, compared to Heinz. I mean, come on. If it ain't Heinz, it ain't ketchup. But we'll still try our best and see what this is like. Yep, ketchup always makes it better. Even when it's not Heinz. But now I'm wondering, what would Starbucks do? It's time for the mixed Starbucks. Just a quick dip in some coffee. You can never have too much caffeine. Actually, yes, you can have way too much caffeine. That goes back to the other problem with all that extra sugar. You got these high caffeine, high energy, high sugar drinks that basically just do nothing but give you a super crazy sugar caffeine rush, then leave you craving the next one. Well, that's it. It's official. McDonald's, you have ruined my morning. That was the worst breakfast sandwich out of Dunkin', McDonald's, and Starbucks. The best sandwich was from Dunkin', and that was the sausage, egg, and cheese on a croissant. Very good, but the very close second was from Starbucks. The sausage, egg, and cheese on a muffin. The muffin from Starbucks was beautiful. It had this amazing texture and flavor of butter on both inner layers of the biscuit. The cheese was great. The egg patty was phenomenal. And honestly, the sausage was pretty good too. That can never be a bad thing. And the same goes for the croissant from Dunkin'. It was amazing. It was fantastic. Couldn't say a bad thing about it. But this affront to breakfast sandwiches from McDonald's, unacceptable. Here's a really cool update. We've actually been talking about merch and what kind of stuff we might be interested in procuring. Comment down below what kind of Johnny Aardvark stuff you'd like to see, and who knows, maybe I'll get you some. Subscribe!